Good day everyone, so hope you're doing really well. All the meta bros are currently playing Vaporize in Genshin Impact, and this begs the question, what should we as Kokomi mains do? Because obviously Kokomi is not going to hit a casual 400k Vaporize, it's just not going to happen. And I think this is why I wanted to make this video, also as a bit of an update to one of Kokomi's lesser known teams, which is the Sukokomon team, which we played a lot in 2021 when Kokomi came out, but that some people might recognize today as the Soup team, which is such a horrible name popularized by some content creators. But basically, way before any of these nonsense terms that people make up, we've had the team of official Kokomi, Xiangling and Sucrose, and this is one of those fun spreadsheet teams, if I can call it that, where if played 100% properly and theoretically, and you have the exact perfect circumstances on the battlefield to enable you to get the max damage, then you're going to do quite a bit of max damage. Now, unfortunately, times have moved on since the game was as simple as it was way back when, and you have to be far more conscious of how you play, where you position. It's not just all about rotation. So a very good example here in the background is that I'm purposefully positioning myself in between these two enemies, not only to get the max vaporize from Xiangling, but to double hit them both with Kokomi at the same time. These are things that you don't appreciate about the game, because once again, all you need to do with a character like Mualani is A, get a 25% bonus from the Imaginarium Theatre, B, get an 80% bonus from the Spiral Abyss Blazing Moon, and then you just need to ensure that there's some sort of form of pyro. You don't even need Xiangling on the enemy, and then you'll do quite a lot of damage. And to me, this excessive amount of free damage that the newer characters give you in terms of their kit is something that I don't really like, because it's very burst DPS loaded rather than encouraging you to play with the game, master the elemental system, understand where you need to position, much like we used to play in the old days. But I mean, obviously times have gone on, all the characters are being power crept, and in a certain sense some people might justify this by saying, oh, but basically with Farina you lose HP, or with someone like Lenny you need to have free pyro units, or there's some sort of gimmick that goes on. Mualani is very clunky, and it's like, yeah, but once you're at the end game of Genshin Impact, things like being clunky or mechanical and execution errors, these are things that should really be secondary. These are things that will only really plague newer players. Once you are at the end game, the assumption is that you would have at least have some decent understanding of what you should be doing. No one is demanding anyone to like play perfectly, and keep in mind as well, when you're watching this background footage, not everything I'm doing is even close to being perfect in terms of maximizing this Sukokomon team, but at the very least you can appreciate some of the subtleties, the ability to dodge and position, and that is just an indication of, well, someone playing for 4 years. It's not really that much skill as it is time in the game. Speaking of time in the game, one of the things that you'll probably notice here in the background is that my official Xiangling, Kokomi and Sucrose are dealing quite a bit more damage than I think most people would expect, and this should be natural for units that have been out since mostly the start of the game, that is official Xiangling and Sucrose, and then obviously Kokomi being a unit that is now literally more than 3 years old. You definitely expect someone that is a consistent endgame player to have really decent artifacts. So today I really didn't hold back in terms of like building the characters. You'll see now in just a short bit as well that I think Sucrose does about 30k damage right here against the big little hamster, and this is just like, you'll see a boom, 30k. That's just an indication of the level of investment and artifacts that I've accumulated over time. Obviously when I try to do, let's say, my C0 showcases and so on, I try to use artifacts that are very often at a very mid level. So this is something that I think most players would be able to relate to. Often I find that when I look at a lot of the long-term Genshin Impact YouTubers, that they'll put out guides, for instance, with 4-star only characters and 4-star weapons, but then everyone is C6 with perfect artifacts, which is just not relatable to most people. But in any case, if you are someone like myself that is a Kokomi main, you've been playing since day one, you've also had the joys and the pains of playing with Sukokomon as it falls in and out of flavor, just like Freeze, then you're now hopefully at a point where you can do a decent amount of damage. Your Xiangling should definitely at least be hitting 35k on Pyronado. In any case, so yeah, that's what I wanted to show you in terms of the Abyss, in terms of Kokomi. So her meta team, or a team that she can use, which is not that popular, is still very useful and functioning in today's meta. We've cleared the Abyss in a very decent time, all of the chambers under 1 minute, so that gives us more than enough time for the second halves, and I do anticipate that if you do follow in my footsteps, you'll be able to at least get a minute 20 on each of the first halves, which is more than enough for the second halves in any case. Now then, as we start wrapping up this video, do let me know in the comment section what type of teams you guys have been playing, whether you're still using Kokomi. I've seen certainly her usage rates have gone down, whether you are following meta, whether you are just doing something completely different. It'll be interesting to see, and obviously if you've got some interesting future video ideas, also let me know, happy to cover those. In any case, thank you so much for watching, have a good day.